The most feared man in Chicago could survive bullets, betrayal, and prison, but he could not survive being told that he had murdered his own 5-year-old son. Sam Callahan controlled more than illegal businesses. His influence reached construction companies, shipping yards, restaurants, and entire neighborhoods where even police officers hesitated before interfering. He was disciplined, calculating, and known for punishing disloyalty without mercy. Yet inside his guarded estate, Sam became a different man. His son Leo was the only person who could interrupt meetings, climb into his lap, or touch the silver lion ring Sam never removed. Sam personally prepared Leo's breakfast whenever he was home, repaired broken toys with surprising patience, and checked beneath the boy's bed each night for imaginary monsters. To Chicago, Sam was a criminal king. To Leo, he was simply his father. Sam's wife, Evelyn, saw both versions of him, and the contrast frightened her. She loved the tenderness he showed Leo, but she also understood that violence never remained outside the family forever. Every armed guard near their home and every unexplained phone call reminded her that Sam's enemies knew exactly where to hurt him. Her fear became reality during a conflict with a rival organization. Sam received information that weapons were being stored inside an abandoned warehouse near the river. Believing the building would be empty, he authorized an attack intended to destroy the rival supply route. The intelligence was wrong. A maintenance worker had entered the building with his 5-year-old son, Owen Holloway. The father survived, but Owen was killed before anyone realized civilians were inside. Sam's men immediately concealed evidence connecting the organization to the attack. Witnesses were pressured, security footage disappeared, and the official report described the incident as an accident caused by unknown criminals. Sam was informed that a child had died. He ordered financial assistance delivered anonymously, but he never visited the family, admitted responsibility, or stopped the men who erased the truth. For Grant and Elise Holloway, money could not replace their son. They watched officials avoid questions and investigators quietly close the case. Grant soon understood that Sam's power had denied Owen even the dignity of justice. Grief hardened into obsession. Several weeks later, Leo disappeared from the Callahan estate. Security cameras failed during a brief, perfectly timed window. A damaged child's body was discovered inside a burned vehicle on one of Sam's properties. The child wore Leo's clothes, shoes, and silver bracelet. Sam's registered weapon was found nearby, along with fabricated evidence suggesting a violent family incident had occurred. The face could not be identified, but Evelyn recognized every possession. She collapsed before investigators could finish explaining. More evidence appeared over the following days. Witness statements, altered phone records, and traces of blood made it seem that Sam had caused Leo's death and attempted to conceal it. Evelyn believed his violent world had finally consumed their son. She refused to defend him, and the city eagerly accepted the story of a mafia leader monstrous enough to kill his own child. Sam was convicted and sentenced to prison. Chicago buried Leo Callahan while Sam lost his family, freedom, and will to fight. But as Leo was buried under his own name, the real Leo was being driven out of Chicago by two grieving parents who intended to make him replace the son Sam had taken from them. For 5 years, Sam spoke to almost no one because every word reminded him that his son had died believing his father had failed to protect him. Prison officials expected Sam Callahan to rebuild his criminal empire from behind the walls. Former associates sent messages offering money, protection, and influence. Inmates avoided his path, remembering the power his name once carried across Chicago. Sam rejected all of it. He spent his days alone, refused legal appeals, and ignored visitors. Although he knew he had not murdered Leo, he believed his decisions had created the violence that reached his son. Innocence offered little comfort when guilt had already become his punishment. Evelyn divorced him during his first year in prison. She left Chicago and abandoned everything connected to their former life. Sam never challenged the divorce or blamed her for believing the evidence. From her perspective, his criminal world had taken their child and then revealed him as the monster responsible. Mara Callahan was the only person who refused to disappear. Sam's younger sister requested visits for months, but he rejected every one. While he surrendered to grief, Mara studied the original investigation. The deeper she examined it, the less convincing it became. Leo's body had never been identified by his face. Authorities relied on his clothes, shoes, bracelet, and items recovered near the burned vehicle. Evidence had been processed with unusual speed. A morgue employee vanished shortly after the funeral, and security footage from the Callahan estate had been erased during a precise 11-minute window. Mara believed Leo's death had been carefully staged. Sam refused to hear her theory. False hope seemed crueler than grief because grief, at least, could not betray him again. Several hours from Chicago, Leo was growing up under the name Noah Holloway. Grant and Elise had told him that his biological parents died in an accident. Elise cared for him with increasing tenderness, eventually loving him beyond the revenge that had brought him into their home. Grant's feelings were far more complicated. Sometimes he treated Leo like the son he had lost. On other days, Leo's expressions reminded him of Sam, and affection hardened into distance. Grant had wanted Sam to suffer, but he had never considered what would happen when the stolen child became a real person with questions, fears, and love of his own. By 10, Leo had begun sensing that his parents were hiding something. He remembered fragments that did not belong to the life they described. A large house filled with guards, a silver lion ring, a quiet lullaby, and a powerful man carrying him through a brightly lit hallway. Grant dismissed those memories as dreams. Leo tried to believe him. That same year, Mara attended a regional children's charity event through one of her legitimate businesses. Days later, the event photographer uploaded hundreds of pictures. Mara was reviewing them when one image made her stop. A 10-year-old boy stood in the background beside Elise Holloway. His face was partially turned, revealing a crescent-shaped birthmark behind his right ear. Mara enlarged the photograph and realized the boy had Leo's face, Leo's birthmark, and the same frightened expression he had worn the night before he disappeared. One photograph forced Sam to consider an unbearable possibility. He had spent 5 years grieving beside the wrong child's grave. Mara brought the image to prison and placed it on the metal table between them. Sam refused to touch it. He believed she was offering him the kind of hope that could destroy what remained of him. For several minutes, he kept his eyes lowered. Then he looked. The boy in the photograph was older, taller, and standing beside a woman Sam did not recognize. Yet the eyes were unmistakable. The shape of the face, the guarded expression, and the slight tilt of the head all belonged to Leo. Behind the boy's right ear was the same crescent-shaped birthmark. Sam's attention shifted to the child's wrist. A damaged silver bracelet hung loosely beneath his sleeve. It resembled the bracelet Leo had worn on the day he disappeared. Grief did not leave Sam. It changed shape. For the first time in 5 years, his silence became controlled anger. Mara explained that the photograph had been taken at a regional charity event. She had already identified the organization, the guest list, and the woman standing near the boy. Sam agreed to cooperate with an attorney. The original case began collapsing almost immediately. Investigators discovered that the body buried as Leo had entered the city morgue under another identity. Transfer records had been falsified, timestamps altered, and several pages removed. The body had belonged to another 5-year-old boy who died shortly before Leo vanished. A former morgue employee was located in another state. He admitted accepting money to release the child's body illegally. He could not identify the buyer, but he remembered one detail clearly. The man appeared consumed by grief and carried a photograph of a dead boy. The evidence proved the murder scene had been staged. Without Leo's body, Sam's conviction could no longer stand. A judge ordered his release while the case was reinvestigated. Reporters crowded the prison gates and demanded to know whether Sam planned revenge or intended to reclaim his empire. He ignored them. Power no longer mattered. Only Leo did. Sam refused to contact Evelyn. One photograph was not enough to reopen a mother's grief. He would not give her hope until he knew the truth. Mara traced the charity photograph to Grant and Elise Holloway. Sam recognized the name. Their son, Owen, had died during the warehouse attack Sam authorized. As he studied the altered morgue records, the truth became impossible to avoid. The child buried under Leo's name may have been Owen. The Holloways had not chosen Sam at random. They had taken his son because his decisions had taken theirs. Sam traveled with Mara to the quiet town where the photograph had been taken. From across the street, he watched Leo leave school beside Elise. Leo laughed, held her hand, and called her his mother. Sam remained still. Finding Leo alive did not mean Leo still belonged to him. Before Sam could decide how to approach his son, Grant noticed him across the street and realized the man he had destroyed had finally found them. Sam had found his son alive, but the boy looked directly at him with the polite uncertainty reserved for a complete stranger. Grant returned home shaken after seeing Sam near the school. He warned Elise that Sam had found them and might use his old power to take Leo by force. Elise refused to run again. During 5 years of raising the boy, revenge had slowly transformed into genuine maternal love. Grant insisted that Leo belonged with them because they had fed him, protected him, and watched him grow. To Grant, biology could not erase 5 years of fatherhood. Sam understood the danger of acting like the man Chicago remembered. He could have surrounded the Holloway house, threatened Grant, or removed Leo within hours. Instead, he kept his distance. Forcing Leo away from the only family he remembered would only create another wound. Mara arranged a legitimate connection through the children's charity program. The community center Leo attended needed repairs, and Sam quietly funded the work without revealing who he was. That was how Leo met him. The boy remained cautious around Sam's controlled posture and intense expression. Sam struggled to speak naturally. He had imagined Leo running into his arms, but he had never prepared for the possibility that his own son would feel safer calling another man father. Leo soon became curious. During a crowded charity event, the noise and movement overwhelmed him. Sam remembered that Leo had always become anxious in crowded rooms. Without drawing attention, he created space around the boy and guided him toward a quieter hallway. Leo noticed that Sam understood his fear before he explained it. Their connection developed through small moments. Sam helped him repair a damaged model car. Leo showed him how to use a modern video game controller. After older boys began targeting Leo near the community center, Sam taught him simple defensive movements designed to create distance and escape. Leo sensed that Sam was dangerous, but never believed the danger was directed toward him. One afternoon, Leo began humming a quiet lullaby while working on the model car. Sam froze. It was the same melody he had used to calm Leo during thunderstorms. The sound nearly broke the emotional control prison had taught him. Days later, Leo noticed the silver lion ring on Sam's hand. The symbol triggered a fragmented memory of a brightly lit hallway and a powerful man carrying him against his chest. Leo asked Elise why the ring felt familiar. She dismissed the memory as another dream, but her reaction was too quick and too frightened. That evening, Elise confronted Sam privately. She demanded that he disappear before Leo's life was destroyed again. Sam acknowledged that she had raised and loved the boy. He also made it clear that he would not vanish without allowing Leo to learn the truth. Grant responded by secretly arranging another move. Leo overheard enough of their argument to understand that Sam knew something about the life everyone refused to discuss. That night, Leo searched through Grant's locked desk and found an old photograph of himself at 5 years old standing beside Sam Callahan. Leo had spent 5 years believing he was adopted after an accident, but the photograph proved that every adult in his life had lied to him. He confronted Grant and Elise the next morning, holding the picture with both hands. Elise's face collapsed before she could answer. Grant tried to take control, insisting that the truth would only place Leo in danger. That response confirmed everything. Leo demanded to know why Sam appeared beside him in a photograph taken years before the Holloways claimed to have adopted him. He realized they did not merely know Sam. They had built his entire life around hiding that connection. Before Grant could move the family, Mara warned Sam that they were preparing to leave. Sam arrived without armed men. Grant expected threats, but Sam refused to turn the house into another crime scene. Leo was already frightened, and Sam would not let violence become the first truth his son remembered about him. With every secret exposed, Grant finally revealed what had happened. Owen Holloway had died during the warehouse operation Sam ordered. Witnesses were intimidated, officials were bribed, and the case disappeared beneath Sam's influence. Grant decided that prison or death would not make Sam understand their pain. He wanted Sam to bury his own child. Grant and Elise removed Owen's body from the morgue through falsified records. They dressed him in Leo's clothes, placed Leo's bracelet beside him, and created evidence that connected Sam to the scene. While the city believed Leo was dead, they carried him out of Chicago under a new name. Grant admitted that he had originally planned to abandon Leo after Sam's conviction. Elise stopped him. She had already lost one child and could not destroy another. Over time, Leo stopped feeling like part of their revenge. Elise loved him completely. Grant also grew attached, but his affection never separated fully from the grief that had created it. Sam did not defend himself. He accepted that Owen's death had occurred because of his order, his power, and the system he protected. Calling it an accident would not return the child or erase the suffering that followed. Leo listened as his entire identity collapsed. Sam was his biological father, but Sam's choices had killed Owen. Grant and Elise had loved him, but they had also stolen him and used his life as punishment. Unable to remain in the room, Leo ran. Sam found him near an empty playground. He did not touch him or demand that he return. He explained the truth without asking for forgiveness. Leo did not have to call him father. He only deserved to know that Sam had never chosen to abandon him. When Leo asked why Sam stopped searching, Sam revealed that he had been imprisoned for Leo's murder and had believed the body was his. For the first time, Leo understood that Sam had been grieving too. Sam finally contacted Evelyn because the truth could no longer remain hidden. As Evelyn traveled to see the son she had mourned for 5 years, Grant discovered that one of Sam's former enemies had learned Leo was alive. Evelyn had survived her son's funeral once, but seeing him alive nearly destroyed the fragile life she had built afterward. She arrived carrying the photograph Sam had sent, along with copies of the false morgue records and the damaged bracelet recovered from the staged crime scene. At first, she believed someone was manipulating her grief. Sam did not ask her to trust him. He simply placed the evidence before her and allowed the truth to speak for itself. Evelyn saw Leo from across the community center before anyone introduced them. He was older and taller, but she recognized the way he pressed his thumb against his palm when nervous. She recognized the careful posture he used around strangers and the slight frown that appeared whenever he tried to hide fear. Those details broke through 5 years of mourning. Their reunion was quiet. Evelyn approached slowly, afraid that one sudden movement might frighten him away. Leo did not remember her clearly, yet something in her voice and expression felt familiar. He allowed her to hold his hand, but not to embrace him. Evelyn blamed herself for believing that Sam had killed their son. Sam refused to accept her apology. The evidence had been designed to destroy them both, and she had reacted like a grieving mother who believed her child was gone. From that point forward, Evelyn remained close without demanding a place in Leo's life. The deeper bond continued developing between Sam and his son. Sam attended school events, answered difficult questions, and never asked Leo to call him father. He admitted that he had led a criminal organization and that innocent families had suffered because of his choices. Leo began comparing Sam's honesty with Grant's repeated attempts to justify the kidnapping. Grant became increasingly unstable. He believed Sam, Evelyn, and Mara were trying to erase the 5 years he had spent raising Leo. Elise disagreed. She accepted that loving Leo meant allowing him to know the truth and choose his own future. Desperate to keep control, Grant contacted one of Sam's former rivals and requested help escaping with Leo. The rival agreed, but his real plan was to use Leo as leverage and force Sam back into Chicago's criminal world. Sam's former associates also pressured him to reclaim his organization. He refused. Returning to power would confirm every fear Leo had about him. Instead, Sam began dismantling illegal operations and cooperating with investigators. Leo noticed that Sam was giving up control rather than using it. Their connection deepened during a quiet afternoon spent repairing Leo's bicycle and walking beside a lakeside park. Leo asked about his early childhood, and Sam told him about his favorite red car, his fear of thunderstorms, and the way he once refused to sleep unless his fingers were wrapped around Sam's hand. The memories returned in fragments. For the first time, Leo looked at Sam as someone connected to his past rather than a stranger demanding entry into his future. Before anyone could decide what came next, Grant disappeared. Leo disappeared with him. Sam found Leo's abandoned bracelet inside Grant's empty house, along with a map leading to the same warehouse where Owen Holloway had died. The final confrontation brought Sam back to the place where one child died, another was stolen, and two fathers allowed grief to turn them into enemies. Grant had taken Leo to the abandoned warehouse where Owen was killed. To him, the building marked the moment Sam's power destroyed everything he loved. He believed bringing Leo there would force the boy to understand why Sam deserved to lose him. But Leo quickly realized Grant had no real plan beyond keeping him away from Sam. Grant described Owen's death, the failed investigation, and the silence purchased by Sam's influence. He warned Leo that Sam would eventually return to violence because men like him never truly changed. Leo understood Grant's pain, but understanding was not forgiveness. Owen's death had been unjust, yet stealing another child's identity and childhood had not repaired anything. It had only created a second victim. Sam arrived without soldiers. Evelyn, Mara, Elise, and law enforcement remained outside while he entered alone. He refused to risk gunfire around Leo. Inside, Sam did not challenge Grant's anger. He acknowledged that Owen died because of an operation he authorized and a criminal system he protected. His actions made it clear that he was prepared to face legal punishment rather than hide behind power again. Grant wanted something more than accountability. He wanted Sam to feel the same helplessness he had carried for 5 years. Sam refused to fight while Leo stood between them. Before either man could act, vehicles surrounded the warehouse. One of Sam's former rivals entered with armed men. Grant finally understood that the man he contacted had never intended to help him escape. The rival planned to kill Grant, seize Leo, and force Sam to rebuild the criminal organization under his control. The warehouse erupted into chaos. Sam moved toward Leo first. He shielded him from the attack and was injured while guiding him behind heavy machinery. Leo watched Sam ignore his own safety, choosing protection before revenge. Grant had a chance to escape, but he stayed. For the first time, he acted not as Owen's grieving father or Sam's enemy, but as the man who had raised Leo. He helped the boy move toward an exit while Sam blocked the armed men. When the rival attempted to kill Sam, Grant intervened and was seriously wounded. As he collapsed, Grant finally admitted that Leo had never been a replacement for Owen. He had become his own person, and Grant's refusal to accept that truth had nearly destroyed him. Law enforcement entered after Elise provided the warehouse location. The rival and his men were arrested. Grant survived, but he was taken into custody for kidnapping, evidence manipulation, and conspiracy. Elise agreed to cooperate and accepted responsibility for helping create the lie. Leo was left grieving the only home he remembered. Sam promised that he would never force Leo to erase Grant or Elise from his life. Loving him meant respecting every complicated part of his past. For the first time, Leo understood that Sam was not asking to own him. He was asking for the chance to become his father again. After the arrests, Leo asked Sam one question that no court could answer: whether a man responsible for one child's death deserved to raise another. Sam had been cleared of murdering Leo, but proving his innocence was easier than proving he deserved his son's trust. The court formally overturned his conviction after confirming that the child buried under Leo's name had been Owen Holloway. However, freedom did not erase Sam's past. Separate investigations examined his criminal organization, the warehouse operation, and the officials who had protected him for years. Sam cooperated fully. He provided records against former associates, corrupt officers, and city officials. He refused to use money, influence, or intimidation to reduce his responsibility. Owen's death had not been intentional, but Sam understood that intention mattered little to parents standing beside an empty bedroom. Grant received a prison sentence for kidnapping, evidence manipulation, and conspiracy. Because Leo still cared about him, supervised letters were permitted. Elise received a reduced sentence after cooperating with investigators and helping law enforcement locate the warehouse. Evelyn slowly rebuilt her relationship with Leo. She did not immediately return to Sam, and neither parent pressured the other. Their priority was helping Leo recover, not recreating a marriage that grief had destroyed. Leo attended counseling as he struggled with anger, loyalty, and identity. He loved Grant and Elise despite their crimes. He also felt drawn toward Sam and Evelyn, even though most memories of them remained fragmented. Sam never demanded that he choose between families. Instead, he dismantled the criminal organization that had shaped every tragedy. Illegal businesses were closed, while legitimate properties were sold to fund compensation for victims. Sam created a foundation in Owen Holloway's name. It supported children harmed by organized crime and helped families searching for missing children. Some people accused him of using charity to repair his reputation. Sam accepted the criticism. The foundation was not meant to erase his guilt. It existed because Owen's life should have mattered before his death became part of someone else's revenge. Over the following months, Leo watched Sam more closely than Sam realized. Their relationship developed through ordinary acts. Sam attended school meetings, helped with homework, waited outside counseling appointments, and respected every boundary Leo established. Eventually, Leo began spending weekends with him. On the anniversary of his disappearance, Sam visited the grave that had carried Leo's name. Leo joined him. The headstone had been replaced with one honoring Owen Holloway, the child buried beneath the wrong identity. Sam stood before it and accepted openly that Owen's death had begun the chain of grief that stole 5 years from both families. Leo understood that forgiveness did not require forgetting the truth. Weeks later, Sam attended Leo's school presentation and waited quietly at the back of the room. He did not expect recognition. When the event ended, Leo walked past Evelyn, his teachers, and the other families until he reached Sam. He introduced him simply as his father. The moment lasted only seconds, but Sam understood what it meant. Leo had not erased the past or excused his crimes. He had chosen to leave space for Sam in his future. A single photograph had revealed that Leo was alive, but finding him had only begun the journey. Sam recovered his son after abandoning power, accepting responsibility, and becoming a man Leo could approach without fear. And as Leo took his hand, Sam realized their real story was only beginning.